first, and then I'll bring you in. Good morning, Madison. Welcome in. Thanks for joining, everyone. Kedrix, what's up? Alabama Farmer, good morning. Good morning. How are you doing? Vanessa, Fragile, how are you today? That's Italian for fancy. Welcome in. If you don't know that joke, never mind. It's a Christmas story thing. Good morning. How are you doing? Today we are I'm going to be chatting with Sandra. I'm so excited. Sandra from East Ender Resale. And I'm really excited about this because I really love Sandra. She's amazing. Elvery Vintage, good morning. Bead Kind DIY, good morning. How is everybody doing? Happy Friday. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm just gonna pull up my questions because I forgot to print them off. I got distracted by the internet. Instagram. I started checking the news, and then I'm like, I went down a hole. I went down a rabbit hole. Sarah Dubb, good morning. There it is. Fashion FriYays. Why does it say exam? Anyways, I'm gonna scroll up. So I've got that ready. We're gonna kind of do an intro first and have questions from the floor. If anyone has questions, please note, if you don't know, there is a new program that is being tested right now in Canada called weekly bundling. And if you want to find out more information, you can go to help.whatnot.com. And weekly bundling is basically where your box stays open for an entire week with a seller if you want to. You can, as a buyer, you can opt into it. So I have weekly bundling. Now, today is a chat show, so I'm not selling anything. It's a community show. I'm not selling anything today. This is the one category where that's allowed. In all other categories, that's not allowed. But in this category, it is allowed. Yes, so the seller has to opt into it. So I am on the beta test. Thank you again, Kenny, for helping with that. I'm on the beta test. And so there's only a few sellers that have been selected so far, a small group. They're testing it out, and then they'll make adjustments and fix any problems that there are before they bring it to all of us. So please don't be too jealous. It is going to force me to start selling more because the only way I can test it is if I'm actually selling. So I will have to start selling more. So brace yourself, everybody. Next week is going to be a lot of selling so that I can actually. So we're going to be discounting my pins. We're going to be doing all kinds of things so I can test the living daylights out of it. So I can provide feedback. So I have to go in and change all of my products because they're all in custom profiles. So I have to change all of that, which is going to take a long time. But that's what I'm going to do on later today. Thank you, Ruda. Good morning, Ruda. Good morning, I Said Groovy. Good morning, Frenny Mins. Good morning, Yana and DB and Dallas. What's up? Good to see you again. And Yosef, I hope I said that right. Welcome in. And Sarah Dubb, welcome in. If I don't know if I may have welcomed you twice, but is it my color? I don't know. It has some blue in it, so I went with that because I'm wearing like vintage Sarah Coventry, and I don't know who made these, but they were super cute and they kind of matched. I couldn't find the matching earrings for this. And then this shirt I think is meant to be worn the other way around, but I like this part, so I put it on the front, and I really don't care. I don't care. I kind of like the oversized glasses. They I think they take away from you seeing how big my face is. I think they do that. I'm not too sure. I don't really care. It is what it is. There's more of me to love every single freaking day, it seems. Good morning, Roman. Welcome in. So again, we're just going to kind of do some chatter beforehand, and then I'm going to bring on the wonderful Sandra from East Ender Resales, and then we're going to have a chat, and then Melody is going to come on and just let me know when she's ready, and then we're going to raid into her at around 11 o'clock ish, and then we're going to continue the chat where Melody's going to be talking more about specific fashion things and fashion selling styles and trends and setup and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to do more of a general discussion around selling. So whether you sell in fashion or not, this is a show for you, because you're going to learn something, and you're going to get to know an amazing Canadian seller. Good morning, Pulling Live. What's up? So if you want to, in the future with weekly bundling, if you want to create a box that is open for all of my shows, so that once a week on basically Sunday at midnight, your box closes and I have to start shipping your stuff out. Um, and it's just once a week. You keep a box open. And what it means is, for Canadian buyers, what it means is, and this is rolling out eventually to all Canadian sellers, we hope, if everything goes well, but they're testing it right now. Is what it will mean for Canadian buyers is that you won't have to, if you go into like 3 or 4 of my shows in a week, you won't have to have 3 or 4 boxes coming to you if you don't want to. You can have just one box, which also means you're only paying that one big amount at the very beginning. Your very first item is going to be a higher price. And then after that, you're just adding a little bit more weight to that box. So I think it's going to be a game changer for Canadian sellers. And once it's completely rolled out, every single one of you that is doing free local pickup, Mimics, thank you for the raid. I love you. Welcome in, everybody. How was your show? Let me just allow to moderate. There we go. And good morning, Audrey and Dave and everyone else who's come in. Nick, welcome in. It relieves the pressure of shipping next day. It sort of does. I will say this for Canadian sellers who think, oh, good, I will only have to ship once a week. No, because if a buyer opts out of it and wants their item and doesn't opt into weekly shipping, you still need to ship that stuff. So it's not as simple. Hey, Lexi, it is not as simple as, oh, good, I'm only going to have to ship once a week. No, your buyers also have to opt into it. So if a buyer wants to get their stuff and doesn't mind paying the extra for shipping, but if you are one of those sellers who is currently utilizing local pickup, which is technically an abuse of Whatnot's features, and that is against community guidelines, but they haven't been enforcing it. If you're using that now, start training your folks away from that. Get used to the fact that you are going to have to start actually shipping. So, oh no, Franny, what I mean is that there are sellers on Whatnot Canada who are telling their buyers not to use the regular Whatnot shipping and instead to select local pickup, and then they're offering free shipping where they're shipping your $20, $30, $50 card, baseball card, hockey card, Pokemon card, Magic the Gathering card. They're sending it by regular letter mail, and they're calling it free local shipping. It is against terms of service to do that. I do not recommend it. Please don't do it. And once weekly bundling is all set up across Canada, you're not going to be able to do that. Good morning, Carrie. Carrie Kennedy's in the house. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, and when you do that, when you circumvent Whatnot systems, not only are you going against terms of service, but your buyer loses all protection, as Mimic says, all protection. If you're a buyer and you do that, if something goes wrong, and when you finally receive your item through this, system that people have set up, then if you have a problem with your item, you can't complain to Whatnot because you already gave the seller your pickup code and said that you got it. And by the time you get it, it's going to be too late for you to complain. So don't use, I suggest to buyers that you keep your protection. Whatnot has amazing buyer protections for people. I highly recommend that you keep that. Now, in another show yesterday, and I'm not going to go totally into that, but I will say this. Please, these ones, I think these ones are from VooGlam, Carrie. This is what I will say. If you are a person thinking about selling on Whatnot, there is one specific rule. There are a lot of rules, but there is one specific rule that is important to follow. Even if you're using the community chat, okay? You cannot come onto Whatnot either in your profile or on a live show in your show notes and direct people to your website to tell them to buy something from you on your website. You cannot sell a business service like anything off of Whatnot. You cannot direct people off of the platform to purchase, to spend their money elsewhere. If you want to sell a business idea program thing on Whatnot, and you've got it in some PDF form or you have it as an online program, you can sell you can sell like a little booklet about it, as well as with that booklet, when you ship that booklet out to the person, they also get a voucher that will allow them to use your website for X number of days. You're allowed to do that, but you are not allowed to say, go over to my website to purchase my $397 per quarter business course. That is not allowed. Yes, Whatnot is not an advertising channel for your other platforms. Whatnot is for selling on Whatnot. Whatnot is their job. Yeah, the reason, of course, Whatnot wants their share of the cut. They're the ones that are. It's their systems which cost money to run. This show costs Whatnot money to run, right? There's like there's computers and there's staff and there's everything. So they if Whatnot said, like, you have so many other places where you could do that. Yes, you're right. It felt like that, didn't it? I wouldn't say maybe that from that country, but it felt very scammy. But anyways, and to be honest, if you're that great a business person that you have all that experience, um, and a great teacher, anyways, don't do that. And folks, if you see something that's wrong, if you see something, say something. The staff are saying that the staff are saying they need your help to report these things, and I get it that not always does something get actionable, but they are working on it. So please, 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 if you see something, say something. Carrie Kennedy says you can offer free resources. Yeah, and I have free resources, and I will pin that now or run it now. If you want to bid $2,000, I don't know what I'd send you, but Carrie says you can offer free resources. I have a podcast called Why Not Whatnot, and it's because I don't want to do a talk show here anymore. I think people need to report more often than they do. Yeah, I mean, I like, as Carrie saw, there was a whole bunch of us who came into that show. The unfortunate thing is I don't hide where I am on Whatnot. Like, I leave it open. Like, if I come into your show and I don't say anything, it means that I was swiping through or I'm working on something for a chat show. So I apologize if I don't stop to say hi, but I'm actually like in the midst of doing something to prepare for the next chat show. Yes, you're going to be in the beta program too. Awesome, Lexi. So if but so people saw that I was in this show, so they started coming into the show, and then I did share it out to some more people because I'm like, someone come in and look at what's happening. So yeah, so that was that show that we were both in, Carrie. But Carrie had a really good question in that chat show that I want you all to help me with, because there's a lot of Canadians in the room. Americans are also, everybody's welcome in my shows. But Carrie asked in that show, hey, Tip Top Treasure, good morning, Magnus by Marika. She asked, what is the difference between selling on Whatnot as a Canadian and selling on Whatnot as an American? And I quickly said, because it wasn't my chat show. I quickly said, like, one of the like technical differences is that we have different shipping, and that's challenging. Also, because of the de minimis exemption being removed, we don't have that American audience anymore. And I can't remember what the other thing was I said, but I mean, I just kind of like did the basic pricing. Yeah. Pricing, I mean, pricing's in Canadian dollars now. And so for American buyers, that can look attractive because, $2,026 Canadian is a lot less in American. And our very small box. Yeah, we got this teensy tiny 5-inch box instead of a 12-inch default box. We don't have flat rate shipping. 35% discount. Yes, the 35%. I was thinking, what am I discounting? Yes, it's about 35% less. So your dollar goes farther. Pull-in Live says it hurt my sales when it switched Canadian currency. Yeah, like, there's a lot of people who just don't understand international currency. And hey, there are Canadians who don't get international currency. It's not just an American thing. So let's not even go there. Um, so there's like technical issues and differences between Canada and the US. There's also, we often don't get features first in Canada that they put out in the States. So like we didn't get tipping first. And so this new de minimis exemption is probably the biggest challenge for us. And then our shipping is very different. And so it makes a huge difference. Um, Carrie Kennedy says, I looked it up yesterday. The numbers of Americans on Whatnot is between 82 and 89% of users, depending on who's reporting. Yes, exactly. How do you get access to the free goal sheet, Sandra? If you go to that QR, you can just take a screenshot of that QR code and open it up later and it'll take you to it. There's also in my show notes, there's the link, and it's also in my bio. The free link that you can go to. It's kind of all over the place. It's totally free. I don't have anything gated. Eventually I'm going to have a website where you can like at least subscribe to my website. But it's not going to be like subscribe with money. It's just going to be subscribe. So if you check there, Daddy's Bargain Bin says, I know of some Canadian base in Canada selling in US. How does that work? If legally, the answer legally is legally if they have a US based company and the items are sitting in the US, then legally they can sell them. So you could have like a warehouse where you store the items and then you have somebody at the warehouse ship them. So say you live in Niagara Falls and it's in Niagara Falls, New York, you could do that. You could have a warehouse, you could have staffing that like will then ship the items out. They do that in some places. There are others who are selling in Canada and then crossing the border and shipping it. That's technically not kosher. So I don't think, to be honest, if you're able to do that, please do it the legal way. You can set up a US account. Like I was going to do selling in the US before all this crap happened. I was going to be going into the US for like a 3-week tour of like my favorite Whatnot sellers and kind of doing like a little, shows, going to different Whatnot sellers and then shopping throughout the US and thrifting, live thrifting, and, all that fun stuff. And so I was going to get an incorporated business and I was going to do Red Rooster US, and I checked with Whatnot, and that's what you have to do. Is if you're going to sell in separate countries, you need to be actually in those countries technically. So do people go around that? Yes. Should they? Probably not. Carrie County says, just curious, where do you get your information that 80-90% of people are silent? It says that in your show notes. So Carrie, I've been doing these chat shows forever, and one of the things that I do is that I and in other chat shows too, they've asked this question, and I will just say like how many people even in a chat show are silent and say nothing, and we do little polls, and those polls have come back to say, yeah, most people are silent. And that's like in chat shows where people are coming to talk, right? So that's like 80-90% of people say they don't say things or they're too busy working. And so they barely say anything during shows. And so, yeah, not pulling in, it's pulling in my own chat shows, community shows where I'm talking about selling and asking other sellers what they're doing and what they're seeing too. So what are other people seeing? Are they seeing that their chats are super busy or super, yes. So it's not a Whatnot. Yeah, it's polling. Yeah, absolutely. It's from polling. So it's not a hard and fast rule. It's just that is the observation that we've seen over the past, oh my God, almost 3 years for me. But yeah. PJ Princess. Yeah, that's fine, Carrie. Yeah, you know what? This is what I say about community chat shows. Take what you like and leave the rest. Every chat show you go to, there's gonna be something that I don't agree with or you don't agree with, and that's the beauty is that with everything about Whatnot, take what you like and leave the rest. As long as you're following the rules. The other thing that I want to just quickly talk about before we're going to go and interview East Ender Resales in a second. So get all your questions ready for Sandra from East Ender Resale. Last night's women's fashion show, walking in my runway, was a total hit. Everyone loved it, and I had a blast. Megahertz has super fun shows. If you haven't met Jeff yet, you need to go check out his shows. Good job, Megahertz. I love you. So that's how you say it. MHZS is megahertz. Why doesn't Whatnot recognize we Canadians have access to media mail shipping through chit chats? We have access to media mail shipping through chit chats, but Canada doesn't have media mail shipping. So you're talking about shipping to the US, and shipping to the US is through UPS. And also, chit chats doesn't technically, they are talking about books type media. Can you talk about duties paid when shipping to the US? Off app seller has to pay duties before shipping, but Whatnot sends with duties unpaid. Yes. So on Whatnot, Canadian sellers, when you're shipping into the US, it is going via UPS, and your buyer will have to pay UPS for before they can receive their box or their package. They will have to pay duties, taxes, and tariffs, as well as they will have to pay for the UPS customs duties fee. So, yeah, we have found it hard with life getting in the way, tripping us up. Tip Top Treasure, life always gets in the way of Whatnot, doesn't it? It feels like that sometimes, like, oh, I really want to do a show, but my dog just threw up all over the house or whatever. Or my husband's sick, or I'm sick. I know that feeling. Okay. So feel free to ask your question and share your shows. I'm going to be interviewing Sandra, and hang on one second. I'm just going to plug in here because I want to make sure that I don't lose power. And the weird thing about I'm on my iPhone, the weird thing about Whatnot and their co-hosting feature is that I can't see on this phone, I can't see Sandra. So all I can see is me. So I don't see Sandra. So I like to be able to like look her in the eye every once in a while. It is perseverance. Give yourself grace, and maybe if you're having trouble doing, 2 shows a week, just give yourself the grace to say, I'm just going to start with 1 show and work my way up. Tip Top Treasures, Megahertz says, you took my advice, and on your Whatnot More family, please follow them if you haven't yet. They're one of the OGs on here. Yes, absolutely. You'll be fine. Perseverance, you know what? Life happens. There's a lot of people that have problems from, their own physical health. I'm glad you're making another run on it. It'll take time to rebuild your business. So that you're doing the right thing by coming in and reintroducing yourself so people can get to know you again. That's the important thing. Okay, hang on one second. Let me just go to my seller hub. No, please, look, you don't. Shows. There you go. Thrifting with Pete. Happy New Year, PJ Princess. Sorry, I missed you there. Open show. Mute my. Very important that if you're using a second device. Crystal Darlings, hello. Loki, leave them alone. They're just getting rid of snow off their driveway. It's okay. Go get your Trump toy. Go get your toy. That toy will work. Yes, Megahertz. I'm now on the testing for it. I'm now a tester. So I did manage to get that. I know. I had to kind of bat my eyes and ask. Yes. So I'm going to be trying it out. Obviously, I'm not selling anything today, but I will be starting to. You're joining a show by the Red Rooster. Yes, I know that. This was also going to be on YouTube. It should be live on YouTube. Fingers crossed. It's working on YouTube this morning. So this will also be available on YouTube. If not, I will put it onto YouTube later. East Ender Resales, are you available? Are you ready to go? Let me know in the chat. And then awesome. Okay. So we're gonna start chatting with Sandra from East Ender Resales. So Sandra, I apologize. When I'm looking away over here, I'm actually looking at you. So don't feel like I'm not paying attention to you. If you see me looking away, I'll try to stare at the camera as much as possible. Captrix, there's no application for them. They're they're sort of cherry picking right now, to be honest. They're selecting just so they can quickly test it out and then they will open it up. Fingers crossed if everything works well. So let me just grab East Ender Resales, invite to co-host, and hopefully the sound is okay. Fingers crossed. If not, you know what I'm going to need to do. Hi.
Oh my God, Kim.
Hi.
Oh my, it's so nice to virtually meet you. Ugh,
I
I
know.
love Kim. I love you.
I love you too.
And I haven't even met you.
I know. One of these
Kim,
days we'll actually meet in person. I've met so many whatnotters in person in real life, and I love when I get to do that. Oh, hang on. I'm gonna just there we go.
I'm coming to Ontario in May, but I think
That's better.
I'm gonna be in like Midtown Toronto. So you're probably far away from Midtown Toronto,
No,
are you?
no.
Oh.
Road trip. Mimics, are you in? Do you like bingo?
Sure.
Do you like bingo?
Absolutely. Of course. Who doesn't? First of all, you look amazing. Look at us in our vintage jewelry.
I know, right?
Right?
I know, I can't really see these ones.
Our 90s
They're
jewelry.
so fun.
Kim, you've helped me so much. I always remember I was saying to my kid that I was coming to do the show, and I said, remember when I did my first show, my kiddo helped me because I had all my items in buy it now, not auction, so it wasn't working. And you were just such a big help, and you're so helpful for all the Canadian community here. Well, not just Canadians, everybody.
Yeah,
So
I remember that first show. He did so good. Like he was like, mom. And then you'd be like, pin the next time. He's like, I've pinned it.
Yes. So see, it was definitely a learning curve, and I'm still learning. And thank you so much for having me today. I'm honored.
Thank you.
Thank you. I still feel like a new kid on the block, though.
But you aren't.
But I am, because there's so much stuff I don't know still, Kim.
So, for anyone who's new to you, how would you describe what you sell, and like tell us your backstory
of what I sell, or
both? Tell us your backstory, how you came to Whatnot, and then like tell us a little bit about what you sell on here.
Absolutely. So, my name's Sandra. I'm in beautiful southern New Brunswick in Canada. I am new to the province. I'm sure you guys have heard me say that before. I grew up in Toronto, and then I moved here about 3 years ago to just have a slower pace, nicer lifestyle. I bought an old 120-year-old house, as you know, Kim. And I live in a beautiful community here. So I found out about Whatnot through an American reseller that I follow on socials. Her name, can I say her name?
Yes, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Mellow State Kelsey. Has anybody heard of her?
I haven't.
Mellow State. So
was she on YouTube?
No. Okay. No, I found her on Facebook.
Oh, hi, cool.
She's great. Yeah. So I followed her, and then I saw her. So most of my style is really from her, what I've learned, how to sell clothes, what clothes to look for, items that I buy specifically for Whatnot, and items that I would buy specifically for other platforms. We're not going to say them, right? The one that starts with a P, the one that starts with an E. So the things that I buy for Whatnot are very different from the other items I sell on the other platforms, right? Because Whatnot is faster. I try to buy items that I can sell quickly and buy at a low cost. So I found out about Whatnot through her because she was selling on Facebook, and then all of a sudden she said, "Oh, I'm going to try selling on Whatnot." So I found out about Whatnot through her. Her name is Mellow State Kelsey. She actually just went on. I love everything about her. Her selling style. Learned so much about her. So I sell ladies wear, but more recently jewelry. As you see, I do a lot of jewelry shows.
You do. It's great.
Thank you. Yes. So jewelry for me as I get older is easier for me to source. So I can source at home on my phone, get the jewelry delivered here, and then I sell it. So I don't need to even leave my house in order to do shows for jewelry. For clothing, of course, I have to go out and source, and that's fine. I have, I have places around here where I can source from. So ladies wear, some collectibles, a little bit of men's wear, and more recently, lots of jewelry. So yeah.
I love that. I
Yes.
love that. I love that so
Thank you.
much. Oh,
Thank you. Thank you for
okay.
having me.
Okay, so hang on. Next question. And if you do have a question, feel free to ask it in the chat. We will try to get to questions. A reworker's passion. Oh, look at your new logo. Oh, I love it. Sorry, I
Kim,
got
you look so
distracted.
beautiful today.
Thank you.
And you
I
weren't.
only did, I did some lip and yeah, and I blew out the hair a bit.
I
Mostly
love
because
it.
I
I
fell
love.
asleep with it wet.
I love it. I love it.
It was still damp when I went to sleep, but when my body says go to bed, I have to listen. Um,
Absolutely. We need our sleep.
okay. So we talked you talked a little bit about your first show.
Yes.
And like tell us a little bit about those first few shows, what it was like. Be honest. Be honest. Like what was it like? What surprised you the most about your first few shows? We'll start with that.
Sure. I used to get very nervous for my shows. Now I get more excited about seeing what people are going to buy. So before it was nervous about, am I going to do something wrong? I don't know how to do this. But then I see that there's other sellers too, new sellers that make mistakes. And I always say, no, I'm not nervous now. I was nervous on my first couple shows, but I'm not nervous now. We've all been new. I say that to new sellers. We've all been new, right? We've all
Yep.
been there. We've all been new. We've all been in that same boat. I always try to put myself in someone else's shoes. So I used to be nervous. Like I said, I'm still learning, Cam. Like there's still lots of things I don't know how to do. Um, the more shows you do, the easier it becomes, right? I do love to buy things that I get excited about selling, right? So I'm
Oh,
not
that's
going to be
great.
selling, right? I really, like this 90s jewelry that I love because I lived it, right? So I love, it brings back memories when I buy it and I sell it. The clothing, I always say that if it doesn't sell, maybe I'll just keep it for myself, right? So I buy things that maybe I could wear. I tend to buy this my style, and I always say this. I'm sure you've heard me say this. Is your tribe will follow, right?
Yeah.
So the style of clothes that I have are. I try to find things that are for everybody. I try to do all sizes. I try to look for the younger demographics, and I try to look for mature women as well. So, like for instance, my past couple of clothing shows, I noticed that I ran out of my larger sizes. So now I went sourcing and now I've got some tops and so on that are for plus sizes. So I try to find something for everybody. How's that for an answer?
I love that. I love that. So
Yes.
let's talk about um what happens to all of us is sort of like what were some of the mistakes you made in your first few shows that
Mm,
that you learned from, because we all make mistakes, but what are the things that if you had to do it over again, what
mm,
advice would you give to younger Sandra, very
ooh.
slightly younger Sandra? Like what would you what would you suggest to younger
What?
Sandra
Listen,
that
Sandra
would
ain't
make
getting
things
any younger.
easier for her?
Okay, so younger self, Sandra, my first shows. Ooh, such a good question, Kim. I'm thinking as I'm looking at the snow falling down. To maybe just relax with it, to maybe just really enjoy it, to maybe not be so rushed to really try to get that sale. So just really enjoy the process, enjoy what you're selling. And again, your tribe will follow. So I'm going to say maybe just relax with it. I think that my clothing shows and the way that I sell is a little bit more relaxed than when I think of my younger self. So that would probably be my answer.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Um, and so let me just, I'm going to look at your profile for a second. Hang on.
Okay.
Please hold. No, I'm not going to do you should fix this. EastEnder.
You guys are
EastEnder.
awesome. And I'm not looking at the chat. So, hi, everybody. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Marika. Hi, Dave.
So
What a,
here's the thing that I love. You
yes.
have sold 1.3K, 113 over 1,300 items.
Yes, Kim.
And you have 1.1K followers. So you have
Okay.
sold more items than followers, which I'm totally jelly of.
Oh,
Um,
thanks, Kim.
no, I really am jealous of that. And I think
Thank you,
because I
Kim.
think that's
Hi,
awesome. And
Angel.
that just shows
Sorry.
it's
Hi,
not you
Judy.
don't need to have 10,000
No.
followers in order to make sales. That and one of the things that I've noticed is like look at her shows, folks. She's got shows booked. Lots of shows booked and consistency in
Hi,
there.
Leah.
Like she has her $7 Sundays. Like look at that
Yes.
consistency, right? And
Yes.
she
Yes.
joins raid trains. She's
Yes.
kind of doing all the things that I'm always saying like
Thank you,
you
Judy.
need to do, right? So like
Hi,
you're doing it
Angie. Sorry.
and you're really clear in your thumbnails about like what's happening and you're
Yes.
like it's like you're doing an earring show over 100 pairs. Like I get that right away, right? The
Yes.
$7 Sundays, really easy to get exactly what you're doing. $7 on
Yes.
Sundays. I really love that. And the fact that you
Thank you, Kim.
join, like, look at this, you're joining
Hi,
like
Jen.
this show, the Family Fashion and Accessories Raid Train that Angie puts on, the Canadian co-host Raid Train that Marika has started, and you're in the True North Strong Raid Train, and you've got like shows scheduled in advance so that people can bookmark your shows. And I know going into your shows that, you have say like on the 25th, you've got 8 bookmarks, but I know that there's going to be way more than 8 people that are going to be in your room and they're all going to be interested in buying from you cuz they know that what they get from you is quality. Can
Mhm.
you talk
Yeah.
about how you like sort of how did you decide on your schedule and like have you made changes? What have you done about your schedule and whatnot to create consistency for your viewers?
Great question. Again, thank you so much for having me today. So I do work full time. We still got bills to pay. I don't have a mortgage. That's one of the reasons why I moved here. No mortgage, but still bills, right? So we have bills. So I
Yeah.
still have to work, and I work full time. I am a makeup artist by trade, so I work at Shoppers Drug Mart,
Cool.
and I've worked for someone. I was talking about this on my show yesterday about some of the companies that I've worked for. So I worked for Chanel,
Mm.
cosmetics, and Chanel boutique in Toronto. But this is when I was younger, like in my 30s, 40s. So, um, I guess I think about my training and how I was trained with customer service and so on. Maybe it has to do with the fact that I've worked for some, prestige luxury brands. Okay, so scheduling. So I do work full time. I will kind of schedule things when I can. Like the jewelry shows will be a little bit more pop up. I did source out those earrings, so I counted them this morning because I want to make sure that I had 100. So jewelry shows will be a little bit more pop up. The clothing shows. So just recently, Kim, I just thought of this $7 Sundays with Sandra. I just because I think that $7 mark, it's a good price point
Yeah,
for the
it's
things that
perfect.
I have. I think so. The $7 Sundays with Sandra, I just thought of it, and I have every other weekend off. So I usually work till 4 on Sundays. So I thought I do like a 5 o'clock show every Sunday with the $7 Sundays with Sandra, and I kind of fit things in when I can. I do love doing this. So to me, this is really fun. This is kind of like my side hustle, hobby, gig, if you will. So I love it. So this is not work to me. It's fun, and we have to remember that, right, Kim? We have to have fun.
Oh, if you're not having fun, why are you doing it?
Yeah,
Just do
exactly.
static listings and, leave it at that. If you're not having
Yes.
fun, because
So
it's
I
not like it's not work. So
to
at
me,
the
it's
end,
not really work though, Kim.
it's well, I mean, there's the shipping and everything else,
I
the
love
background
shipping,
stuff. You love shipping. I love you that you love shipping. I mean,
but
I love that you love shipping. But like,
but
yeah, if you're not having fun, it's also your buyers aren't going to have fun. Like when you and like, so let's talk actually about like when you have a show that isn't a lot of buying happening. Like how do you keep that positivity? How do you keep that like just like no big deal, let's just keep going. How do you do that mindset so that you any disappointment you might have doesn't come out on the screen?
because we all have the good shows and the bad shows, right? Like I know that I had a show yesterday with rings. I had one buyer. I think she bought 5 rings. Would I have liked more? Sure. So if it's not going to happen this time, keep at it. You just have to have that right person, right? You
Hmm.
just need really, like people
One
say, oh, you
person.
need, yeah, exactly. They say you need to have thousands of followers. I disagree. It takes that one person, right? Um, yeah, my top customer, her Anita Pink Kitty, she's my top customer, and she might come in and buy, you know, I don't even know if she's on.
Oh, there you go. I can't
Is
wait
she
to
on?
receive my rings. There you
There you
go.
go.
There's your
Yeah.
buyer. I love that.
So so yesterday, yeah, I was a little bit, oh, I only sold five, 5 rings to one customer. Would I have wanted more? Sure. But then, there's more shows, there's more people, and just don't give up. Don't give up. That's my
Yeah.
answer.
And if
Yeah.
you, I mean, a lot of people will
I know
kind
you.
of, some people drift away from whatnot and then they come back again and they think that they're going to be able to just kind of dive in back in where they were, but it takes time to rebuild. So even if you go on vacation, sometimes it takes time to rebuild your audience back up because they start getting used to going elsewhere. It's like when the television station changes when, your favorite program is on, and some people can't adjust to that, right? So you have to
Right.
rebuild your audience again. Lexi Julie says, I'm a new seller in Toronto, Canada. I'm selling jewelry sets. I love it. Yeah,
Hi,
do
Marika.
not, as many as Marika says, consistent. I love the fact that you're doing those consistent, every other Sunday
No, so
shows
it's every Sunday. Every other
every
every
Sunday.
other weekend I have off, but I will do a show every Sunday, regardless if
I
I'm
love
off or
that.
not.
So
Thank
like
you, Kim.
every Sunday you're doing a show,
Hmm.
and so people can expect, and then let's talk about that price point of $7.
Hmm.
Um um how do you, so I assume you don't bring in items that, love you Dave, look both ways before you
Bye,
cross the street.
Dave.
Um I assume that when you're sourcing for a $7 show, you're not bringing in like a Coach purse, for example. um how are you sort of making sure that you're not leaving money on the table when you're doing those $7 shows or $5 shows, that sort of thing? Like, how do you figure that out to make sure that, because you do have other platforms that you sell on too, so
Yeah.
how do you do the mindset of not leaving money on the table when you're live on Whatnot?
Well, I think with Whatnot, you will lose money sometimes, right? But then you'll get those pieces where you're really gain. So sometimes it balances itself out, right? So you might like really get more for one item, and then not so much for one that you might have spent a little bit money on. So it does all even out, even more so with jewelry. So the sourcing, I do try to. I make not a whole lot of money with the $7, but that's okay. My 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 wish would be eventually that people will be outbidding people for this $7 Sundays, right? So that's kind of like, okay, I'm thinking I'm going to put it at 7, but hopefully somebody might want to pay, 14 for it. So I am sourcing at a great place where I make a little bit of money on each of those $7 items. As I mentioned earlier on the show, when I do my sourcing, I am sourcing specifically for Whatnot, or those $7 Sundays, like those tops that I bought recently, the plus sizes I didn't have. Those are $7. Those are going to go on my $7 shows and all the other shows. So I do $7 Sundays, but those $7 shows are also going to be like in my show today. When I do my show, 1 o'clock Ontario, 2 o'clock Atlantic time. So I'll have the $7 in with a little bit more, like the free people and those ones that maybe I paid a little bit more for. So yeah, so I try to source where I know I'm going to make a little bit, but then you might lose a little bit,
Yep.
right? Does that happen to you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I,
I mean,
I
I'm a way too low start person, so I'm like a do as I say, not as I do. Like, do not copy me, because I'll be like, oh yeah, you know what? Who cares? Like, I'll just sell this for $2, and then everyone's like, oh my god. And sometimes that works in my favor, and sometimes it doesn't.
yeah.
But I like that $7 price point because like
Thank
it's
you.
it's not $5.
Yep.
It's a little bit more. It helps cover your fees,
Yep.
and then your sourcing. And yeah, you're right. Like, it's I like when you when you first came on, one of the things you said was that you are looking for item, you source for whatnot for items that are going to sell. That you've gotten to know your customers, you've
Yep.
gotten to know the base, and you know kind of like this will go well. Like you're not necessarily personal shopping for certain people, but you know that style that seems to work with your
Yes.
tribe, right?
Yes.
You've found your
Yes.
tribe, you've
Yes.
found your group, and you're building that sort of look that works with your tribe, and I really love that.
Thank
Um,
you. There's lots of
uh,
questions, Kim.
yes, I see that.
Thank
But
you.
I'll just
Kim.
finish off with this. Is
Yes,
like
of
you talked
course.
about high sell, like basically what you said was about high sell through rate, which I talk about a lot, which is you want items that are going to be in that fast
Yep.
lane. I
Yep.
talked on Saturday about like the 3 lanes of pricing on whatnot, is that you can just do all fast lane. And that's basically what you're doing with your $7 starts is you're picking
Yes.
items that are going to be high sell through. So
Yes.
you know that even if you spent $5 on that, you're still going to make a
Yes.
little bit,
Yes.
and it's going to move. So
Yes.
it's the reason why Costco and Walmart and Home Depot and all that offer discounts, because they're looking at high volume, lower margins, high volume, and that actually makes money. That actually
Yes.
does. Clearly, it works because they're big companies. High sell through rate is a great idea of just having a show that you don't have to do like there's all kinds of different ways of whatnotting, right? I like that version that you're doing.
Thank
Um,
you.
that's basically the fast lane that I talked about. The 3 lanes, the fast lane is what you're doing with high sell through rate, and I think that's
Yep.
brilliant.
Thank
And
you.
I mean, and I love that mindset too of don't put all your eggs in one basket. This is one platform that you can use. It's an awesome freaking platform in my opinion,
Love it.
but it
Yes.
is like one platform to use. So if you already sell on the P word
Yep.
or the little e or the
Yep.
big E, this can be your clearance aisle, right? Like this can be where you can also use it as like, okay, this inventory hasn't sold here.
Yes.
Let's get it gone, make room
Yes.
for new, right?
Yes.
So your margins may be lower, but you're gonna go through way more stuff. Okay, and then there's a question. Sorry, I'm going to
Yes.
scroll back up. The
Thank you,
lovely
Kim.
Emmy asks, "How do you manage to do so many shows in a week since you work full time as well? How do you
Yep.
manage the shipping afterwards too?" That is a great question.
Hi, lovely Emmy. She's so cute. It's so funny, Kimmy, how we get to know our customers and we haven't even met them. We get
I
a
know
sense of
it's
their
great.
style and their vibe. And so as I mentioned, I don't know if you heard Emmy, but I work full time, but I try to squish in shows when I can. Like for instance, today I'm off, and I'm gonna do 2 shows today. So I'm gonna do my 1 o'clock one, right, for the
Yep.
Fashion FriYays. And then I try to revolve it around my kiddo too, because I live in this house with them, and I'm going to do my jewelry show. So I said, what's your schedule? Do you mind if, because I'm going to have 100 and something pair of earrings on this counter right here. So I try to fit it in when I can. I just do. I don't know. Again, I feel like this is not work for me. It's fun. It's a little bit of money making. I think about my future. Maybe as I get older, maybe could this be something that I could do? Um, later on. I don't know. Not right now, but I think about it later. So I just kind of squish it in when I can, Emmy. How's that for an answer?
And the shipping, since you're
Yes.
doing jewelry and clothing, I mean, it's not like
Yes.
us crazy folks who are selling vases and
Breakables. Yeah,
breakables. I assume it's pretty fast for shipping.
it is. So remember, Kim, I told you that I work at Shoppers. I think sometimes I mention to people, go to Shoppers and get boxes. So I work in cosmetics. I It's so cute because all my coworkers now know what I do. So they're all putting like boxes in my freaking locker. It's hilarious. Like I open my, because I said, oh, I'm doing jewelry now. So I need little boxes. So I see, okay, oh, from Lynn, here's boxes for you. So
Oh,
I get boxes from my work. So I don't buy any boxes. I don't buy any shipping materials. So they're all in my little sort of mud room there. And I love shipping. So I get all the stuff in Kim. I get all the various sizes of boxes, and I don't know, I do it fairly quickly. I do like shipping. It doesn't take me that long. Again, I'm not like you guys, you and Nuria, where you're packing breakables, right? I think it might
yeah.
take a little bit longer, right?
I definitely would say that 3 years ago it would take me, it felt like a century to wrap things. And I did some also interesting wrapping. I don't know if Owl Always Love Vintage is on here,
Yes,
but
Leah.
I got to know her first, and so I knew all about her kids and everything else. So I was using like these cute little like I got this cardigan shrug thing and a little shrug that I wrap stuff in things that I knew she would also love and little pieces of fabric and stuff because I was like, I'm just gonna start. Oh, well, look, I've got this. I'll send that for her daughter. And like, I
Oh,
was doing like, I was using non-professional wrapping material. She must have opened it up and thought, who is this nut bar that I've just met on Whatnot who's sending me all these weird things along with it? Like, it was very unprofessional. But now it's like I can just stand there and go and I just kind of have a system. I assume you have like a little
I,
you have like something set up, like a setup. How do you set up your shipping? Do you have a shipping area or do you create a shipping station when you need to, or what do you do?
so I'm on it right now. This is just I have just like an island here. So this is the shipping area. But Jeff and Leah were asking me if I have a shopper. Sorry, if I have a post office in my shoppers. Yes, I do.
Oh,
So they're getting to know me now,
convenient.
know what it. So it's great. I can go to work and ship my items, so that's a plus as well. So this is it. It's a big island here, Kim. This is my shipping area, and then that mudroom, dog room is where I have all the boxes. So yeah, I am very fortunate that I don't have to pay for any shipping items.
That's great. So you just kind
Yes.
of have your setup, you quickly
Yeah.
ship, and away you go. And
Yeah,
that
and
is very convenient to work
I
at the
do.
post office, basically.
Yes. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I
Oh,
do
no.
like shipping right away. I feel that people are paying for their items. I want to actually get them out the next day. So I do, I think about this saving all the purchases for the bundling for 1 week. I don't know. That kind of makes me a little bit. I do feel that people are paying for their items that they should get them right away.
And
So,
that's the thing about the weekly bundling is it's going to be an opt-in. It's an opt-in for the seller. If you don't want to do the weekly bundling, you don't have to.
mm,
And it'll be an opt-in for the buyer too. If the buyer doesn't want to wait for an entire week, then they don't have to turn on weekly bundling, and so then you are required to. Yeah, I have it now.
Kim
I'm part
has
of
it
the
now.
test now. I begged
Yeah,
for it. Um, I
that's
begged
so
for it.
good.
Um, so yeah, so the buyer has to opt into it, and you have to opt into it. So um, there may be, I don't know, like you have really great prices and you're shipping fast, and I think your customers are okay with paying the extra cost of shipping after each show. Also, because you're not doing a show every single day, right? So if
No, but I try. I know, but I try. It's funny you say that because I remember reaching out to Megahertz Jeff about a customer. Sorry, Kim, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, go.
Um, where I reached out to Jeff and I said, "Hey, a customer just bought something in my show. The show ended, and then she bought another item in my buy it now." Um, and then he said, "What did he say to me? What did you say? Cancel the order and ask her to give you a tip or something?" I didn't do that. I ended up just shipping it. And she hasn't said anything, and she's done it multiple times. So I don't know. I'm not going to say anything unless because she'll know if she
There,
was
Batty
it
for Deal
you.
says it was me.
No, I don't think it was. I don't think.
But I mean,
Anyways, Arden.
there are
Yes, it
like
was
it
Arden. I'm
does
sorry.
say this is your shipping cost, and people get it and will buy stuff, right? Like they understand.
So
Yeah, they
Arden,
paid for shipping twice. They would have paid
yeah,
for shipping twice.
Arden is something. Is that something that right? So is that something that you were aware of, or like, did you think that you could buy my show and then my show ends and then you could do buy it now and then it would be combined? Arden, I'm curious.
Yeah, that is a good question.
Yeah.
I think because I think it shows you how much it's going to cost with shipping. She was experimenting. I love that.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I think people see that here's your extra shipping costs, and so they know before they hit, especially from the buy it now, it lists it all right. Like here's your total, and then
Yeah.
you have to hit, yeah, go ahead and purchase. So they see that. they see that here's the item, here's your shipping, here's your taxes. Like it's really laid out pretty clear. So I think
I
people
see.
there are people who don't mind paying the shipping. There were people who didn't mind paying the shipping back when our shipping was more expensive. So in
Yeah.
my day, shipping was more expensive. So um I think we have to stop apologizing for our shipping because there's nothing much we can do about it. And that weekly bundling is just, I know you've been awake early enough to looking. Um, that there's, I think the sh- um, the weekly bundling is an option that, I'm going to try it and see how it goes. It's going to
Yeah.
force me to do more shows because that's the only way that I can test it. So,
Mhm.
thank you for Whatnot for forcing me to have to do more shows. Hey, Louise is in the house. So he says, if you turn on weekly bundling as a buyer, you win a giveaway. You unlock free discounted shipping for the whole week. I love that phrase.
Oh.
Wait, wait. Boop. Oh, wait, I just accidentally turned it off. Son of a nutcracker. There we go. There we go. There, I had to screenshot that, Louise. I love you. Since winning a giveaway will open a bundle for you. Oh, that's true too. Yes. So you could if you do giveaways in your show, which I don't do very often, but yeah, you could do giveaways and then you're giving your buyers a whole week to keep buying from you. Every time they come into your show, it's going to show like almost zero or like 3 cents or 15 cents or only 50 cents to ship their very first item in your next show. And um Louise, Vintiquity should probably be next.
Yes.
Um
Any
yeah,
other questions that we missed?
cuz yeah. Yes, so Louise does take pride. You shouldn't say that. Shh, he's just kidding. He's kidding. Um,
Ah,
I think Vintiquity would be a good tester. I know my screen does say weekly
yes, it
bundling
does
now.
say that.
Oh, it's so exciting. Even though I'm not selling anything today. But I think it has its opportunities for us. But again, it's it's an option. So if you don't feel comfortable with it, you don't have to do it. And if you want to try it out for a couple of weeks, you can do that too. And you can see once everyone in Canada has it, you may find that you have buyers coming in saying, "Can I do weekly shipping?" And then you'll have to say, "Sorry, I don't do weekly shipping because I like to ship out right away." But you can also you can make it an option and see if it changes your buyer's behavior from one
Mhm,
show to the next, right?
mhm.
It's again totally up to you. The one thing that I will say, and Louise, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're using a custom shipping profile, say one custom shipping profile for clothing and another custom shipping profile for jewelry, that's going to create two boxes. Am I
Oh,
correct, Louise? So you have to keep with one. I'll wait for Louise to answer because
category, like the
I'm
same
assuming
category.
that's the case because if you use two custom shipping profiles in a show and someone buys in each one, then it creates two boxes. So Vintage Goods by Ruta says, I only do one show for weeks, so it does not work for me. Yeah, if you're only doing one show a week, you don't have to do weekly bundling because it's not necessary. You can just turn it on anyways. So say you wanted to do a pop-up. Depends on the unique setup, like max number of items per bundle, box size, etc. Okay, we'll have to chat more. I might email you to ask you some more questions. So
There's there's a
yeah, so
question there.
Angie's this and that.
So can I? There's a question there, Kim. Can I answer it?
Of course, yes, go for it.
So, Spirit Junkie, does East Under Resale find it difficult to be successful in several categories? Am I successful in several categories?
I think you are. I
Am
think you
I?
are.
I still feel so new, Kim. Like I still feel like I
It's
have
like you're not doing this full time. So like,
no. I
and a
no.
definition of success is different for everyone. Like,
Yeah.
there's some people who think that owning casinos and bankrupting them is still a success. Just saying that was a jab for today. That was my only jab for today. But there's
In
different
several
there's
categories.
different definitions of success. But I think what you did was
Exactly.
you built your women's fashion, and
Yes.
branching into, so you have
Yes.
your audience and your tribe, and then you branched into
Yes.
jewelry, which is
Yes.
a logical transition, right? It's like if you wear if you wear women's fashion, you are likely to also like jewelry. So
Yes.
you've captured your tribe isn't going to be like if you suddenly started doing Pokemon, you wouldn't have the same tribe, right? So I think that the folks who not everybody, it's like again, whatnot can be whatever you want it to be. I think that
Exactly.
it's totally different um for some people. They can branch into different categories, but the majority of people tend to branch into categories that are related to their starter categories. So if you
Yes.
start in fabric and sewing, and then you move to yarn, it totally makes sense. And then you start doing handmade items, right? Like it's connected. They're all sort of connected. So you could start doing bags and accessories as your next thing, right? You could go into handbags and accessories, and you do sell some of those anyways in your women's fashion show sometimes. I
Yep.
think I've seen you holding them up every once in a while.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think the beauty of Whatnot is that there are very few categories that are gated. So
Mhm.
you can go and try another category. If you have an opportunity to buy out an entire collection of, say, pet
Yes.
supplies,
Yeah.
then go buy the whole collection of pet supplies, market your show beforehand. Don't just like go do a pop-up and then say nobody came in for my pet supplies. Well, you're going to have some of your tribe has pets and wants the pet supplies, but then you also want to attract other people. So I think the successful people who branch into other categories also make sure that they do the marketing beforehand, and you do that really well. You book your shows well in advance. You come into chat shows and advertise and say I'm doing a show coming up, like you're always
Yeah.
coming in
And I
and
love supporting new sellers.
and that's
I
awesome
love
too. Yeah,
supporting.
there's so many times when Sandra will come into a new seller's show and help coach, just the
Yeah.
way we
And
like she's
I
paying it
like
forward because that's what we
yes,
did in your first show, like do
exactly.
this next.
And if I can't buy an item, I will tip a new Canadian seller, like if it's their first show. So if I don't buy something, I'll definitely tip. Um, but that question, Spirit Junkie, I think it comes down to also sourcing, like what I can find, right?
Yeah.
So as I mentioned earlier about the sourcing, like the jewelry I can source from my phone, have it shipped at my door, and I can still be in my pajamas, right? So the clothing, finding that price point where I can get items to make a little bit of money. So I've kind of been more successful in jewelry
Mm,
more recently. I think I still want to do the $7 Sundays with Sandra for sure.
yeah.
And then on those raid trains, that's when I'll do those $7 items plus the little bit higher items like today. So I'll still have the $7 plus I'll have the other ones like the Lululemons and the Free People that aren't $7. So I'll do the $7 and the higher price items on the raid trains, and then the $7 Sunday. So more recently, it's been jewelry because I've been able to source more jewelry at great prices than the clothing. So,
And let's see. Vintiquity says I had to separate my vintage decor and jewelry shows when I started because not all my buyers are in both categories or into both categories. So that is also a really great tip. Is not to do like a combo show, because the people who are just there for vintage decor would get bored if all of a sudden it became jewelry, and vice versa. So I think that's a really great tip. Thank you, Vintiquity, for that. Okay. What would you say? And there are some people in the room who've said that they're thinking about selling on Whatnot, but they're a little bit nervous. They're not too sure if they're not ready to pull that cord yet and jump out of the plane first, then pull the cord. FYI. What would you say to someone who's watching right now and thinking about starting?
just do it. Just do it. Remember, I was talking about that reseller, Mellow State Kelsey. So, a couple of tips, things I learned from her. As far as if I'm talking about clothing now, minimum number of items. I think you should have at least. I'm going to say at least between 50 and 60 items to have a fairly good show. Would you agree, Kim? for
Yeah, it
clothing.
depends on your time. If you're aiming for like an hour or two, then yeah, 50 to 60. Um,
So make sure you just do it. We're here
y-
to support. We don't judge. We're always here to help. Have at least 50 to 60 items if you're doing clothing. Um, and it gets better, it gets easier. Like I said, I was very nervous earlier on, but now it's more fun. And we have such a great support system, like you, Kim, and everybody who I meet that's a new Canadian seller. Everybody, all these sellers here mention you and your support with all the Canadian sellers and the American sellers as well. But you're awesome. You're a wealth
oh,
of knowledge.
I just
And I'm
I started doing it because we didn't have Thrifting with ADHD was actually the first OG. She's the OG of chat shows.
Just do it.
And then
Yes.
her life got in the way of that. And
Yep.
so I started doing chat shows, and and also raid trains, which, um Kim don't do raid trains anymore, and it's probably a good thing. So but I started doing it just because there was a gap, and I felt like there were Canadian questions that it was hard to, you can't get answers from the American US sellers on Canadian questions, right? And I just think we needed to. 13 with HG, your chat shows are awesome and you should do them again. But I know
Yes.
ain't nobody got time for that. And then like I have the luxury, the privilege of not needing to sell if I don't feel like it. So um I like giving back, and this is a community that I'm not gonna cry. Whatnot truly saved my life. Truly saved my life. I was in a very difficult, isolated situation.
I'm sorry to
We
hear that,
moved
Kim.
up here to look after my mom,
Oh,
and looking after somebody with dementia is isolating enough. And then
uh-huh.
being isolated, only seeing my husband on weekends.
Yes.
Um, and not knowing anybody around here. And
Oh,
I just stumbled on Whatnot, um, and thought I'll just start watching some shows first to learn and see what it was like whether before I applied to sell. And that's where I met like Thrifting with ADHD and Vintiquity and I will always love vintage. They were like the core friends I met, and they literally like if it wasn't for them, I would have been so completely isolated. And they were so loving and encouraging and um, just so open. Big Sky Country Finds. I miss you, Sandra. Another Sandra. Lots of awesome Sandras on Whatnot. There's just so many people that I've met here. And the Hodgepodge place was talking about this on the Whatnot Sellers show. I don't know if you saw that this week. Whatnot Sellers
no,
show. The Hodgepodge place
no. I follow
was
her.
she said I people think it's weird that I have these friends
Yes.
on Whatnot that many of them I haven't met, but they're my friends. They really are
Yes.
my friends. Like you get to know people on
Yeah.
here. And Vintiquity says if it weren't for you all, I agree, I may not have stayed. Yeah, I think like the community is
Mhm.
such a key part. And so I do these to help support the community. And then I started doing the daily shows, and that was only because of the strike. And
Yes.
and then they just never ended being daily shows. I had to force myself to stop doing them every morning because it was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I looked at my stats and I was like, I'm on for like 2 hours every morning, except for Sundays. Like, what am I doing? Like, I'm not selling. I sold so little in relatively speaking in 2025 because I was doing these chat shows instead, but I love doing them and I love helping and I love seeing sellers like you who had like went from their first show where their son had to be there to help you out and you were
Yes.
doing buy it now and then not
Yes.
understanding why all of a sudden an
Yes.
item was sold before you'd even run it, and like to now where you're confident enough to branch out into another category and you've got your like pricing system figured out and your flow and you're doing raid trains. It's amazing to see and I just love it. Like stamp
Thank you.
pickers, Corey, I mean an amazing seller before Whatnot, but you know, Whatnot took him to another level when it came to income, right? And I love seeing that. I love seeing all the success stories out of Whatnot. So I'll keep doing this as long as I can because I think it's important, and that's why we
Thank
started
you.
doing
We
this
appreciate you.
fashion series was
Yes.
because I knew that I this I did started doing this fashion series because I knew that there were so many new sellers coming on board for fashion,
Yeah.
or who were thinking about coming on board because they're getting recruited, literally getting recruited, and they're like, but they don't know where to start. And I wanted to help them get a start by hearing from other fashion sellers that it's not as hard as you think, and that yeah, it's different from the P word, but it's an awesome place, right? It's an
It sure
awesome place,
is.
and you are going to love it more. And I'm telling you, there's a hell of a lot less drama on here. Just saying. Um,
Well, we appreciate you, Kim, so much. You know
well,
that,
I love
right?
all of you guys.
You know that.
Let's see. I haven't. Melody, are you set? She said she needed about 3 more minutes. When Melody says she's ready to go, unless she's on, Melody's on. Okay, so
Thank you so much,
Sandra,
Kim.
hang on. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you,
appreciate
Kim.
that you're giving this time too. Can everyone please, like, if you can, go to her profile and give her a
Thank you,
tip and
Kim.
thank her for her time, because she's donating her time for this too.
And
And
so are you.
well, yes, but you know, I'm always
Thank
doing
you.
this. And then we're gonna raid into Melody, and
Yes.
then Melody is gonna co-host you and continue the conversation about fashion in
Sure.
particular. Yes, for a short period of time, and then she's gonna sell, and you can go get ready for your show.
And then my
So
show is,
1 o'clock.
which is, so it's 12 here.
So
So it's
12
two
o'clock.
for me. It's two for me,
Two
one
two
for
for you,
you.
right? You're ahead. So
I'm
the
ahead.
Atlantic provinces are ahead of us in so many
Kim,
ways.
so great to
I
virtually
love
meet
you.
you.
Thank
Love you
you so
too. I love
much.
everything about you.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay. I
Thank you,
love you. I
Kim.
love you. Let's
Thank
go
you, thank
raid
you.
into. Hang on. Got to do it on the other phone. Or no, I don't. What am I talking about? Hit send. No. Oh, for the
Bye,
love of all
everybody.
things
Thanks for
holy.
stopping in.
Announce something. Send. I have to announce something. It doesn't. There. I announced a period. Here we go. Raid and select Melody. Okay, I love you guys. Let's
Love you,
head
Kim.
over
Bye. Thank
to
you. Thank
Melody.
you.
Thank you
Thank you
again.
for being you.
I thank you for being you. I love you. Okay, here we go. Let's
Bye.
let's throw a whole bunch of emojis into